Okay. Good morning everyone. I am Jayanthi. I am going to take the topic Cold War. This is the slides for the reference of the Cold War and what are the places the Cold War happened, and also the leaders who were during that time ruling USA and USSR. So these are the slides. Next I will explain the meaning for the Cold War. Next slide. And during this time, in USA, Harry S. Truman was the president. When the Cold War was started in USA, Harry S. Truman was the president, whereas in Soviet Union, and Joseph Stalin was the prime minister, president of the USSR. There were many ideological differences among between these two countries. This Cold War itself divided the world into two divisions, that is Eastern Bloc and Western Bloc. First difference, ideological differences. In political ideologically, and USA followed a capitalist ideology, whereas Russia followed, USSR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. This Russia followed a communist ideology. It is like a dictatorship. There was not that much freedom was given to the people, whereas in USA, in a democratic type of government was followed, where the people enjoyed a full freedom. It is a Cold War. Why it is called Cold War? They neither used, both of them, both USA and USSR didn't use military directly. They never declared the war on each other. Instead, they supported the political groups. For example, in Eastern Europe, Eastern countries of Europe, many of the countries followed a communist ideology, so they were supported by USSR. Whereas in USA and also Western Europe, USA supported the Western European countries such as Spain, Portugal, France and England. These were the countries, they were existed in the Western side. In this way, Eastern Bloc supported by the USSR, whereas Western Bloc supported by USA. In this way, the world was, in the globe itself, divided into two blocks, that is Eastern and Western. Next map. So this is the map. It shows here. This is the Stalin. He used these were the Eastern European countries, and he wanted to follow the same communist ideology in these regions. That's why he wanted to bring all these countries under his control, that is East European countries under Russian, USSR control, that is Union of Soviet Socialist control. Whereas the plain white, the map which is not marked, that is plain countries, it shows these were under the Western Bloc. This is the President Harry S. Truman. During his time only the Cold War started, whereas in USSR, Stalin, he was a ruler. Next. And the causes for the Cold War, first political ideology I said, second one, and there was an arms race between both USA and USSR. Arms race means they were manufacturing atomic and also nuclear missiles and also ballistic missiles. So both of them were suspicious of each other. Both of them were accumulating these weapons. So this created a tension in the world itself. So it led them on the verge of another war. So even though it was cooled down, came to an end, all these things, when in USSR President Mikhail Gorbachev, when he came to power, he introduced some freedom that eventually led to the breakout of ended the Cold War. Next one. These were the Eastern European countries. See, these followed. Here itself given, and USSR 1938, it was there, and annexed for expanded is USSR. These were the places expanded by them by occupying, and other countries, these were the countries, they were under the satellite control. Satellite means remote. They are existing from Europe, from Russia to here in Eastern Europe, little it was in long distance. That is why it controlled from there to here. That is why these places were called as satellite states. These red colored countries were under the USSR control, under the communist regime. And the Cold War was here. Cold War was a period after the Second World War that involved the political. I already explained how the political ideology and the economic point of view. The USSR and USA, both of them, they put some economic restrictions. So that in that way, that is in the economic field also there was a clash between them, conflict. So political, economic, military rivalry between these two superpowers. First, as soon as the Second World War came to an end, and USA became the superpower. It was in the military and also in the arms, in everything they were super when compared with the Soviet Union. First superpower is USA and second superpower was USSR. So I already explained that it is a mutual antagonism, suspicion and hatred between USA and USSR is called a Cold War. It happened after the Second World War. So these were the proxy wars. So during the Cold War, there were it itself divided into many phases. Nearly 7 phases we can divide. First phase. In the first phase itself, the Chinese Civil War happened in the year 1946 to 1949. Second event, the Korean War 1950 to 53, and Vietnam War 1955-1975, and Cuban Missile Crisis that happened in 1962. How in these places, what is the reason for war in these crises in these places? Next one. Because I already said Russia wanted to expand this communist ideology in the world. So that USA wanted to prevent it, whereas USA wanted to expand the communist ideology, but Russia wanted to prevent that. So that is the main reason for the Cold War. And another one in the military race. Military means in the manufacture of weapons. That is the two things. It made them to interfere in the war in all over the world. Here Korea, North Koreans. This is the Korean War. It happened in 1950 to 1953. North Korea and South Korea. Here North Korea, it's under the US control, USSR control, whereas South Korea under the American control. So North Korea wanted to bring the South Korea under one rule, that is communist rule, but this was not liked by USA. That's why USA sent us military in South Korea and to defeat the North Koreans, even though finally by the interference of UNO and some other countries, this war came to an end and they fixed a line, 30th parallel line that divided Korea into North Korea and South Korea. In this way, this war happened during the Cold War. So in this way, they didn't involve directly in the Korean War, just they supported the North Korea. That is North Korea supported by USSR and South Korea supported by USA. In this way, they engaged in the Cold War. These are the other maps, how they expanded, how the war advanced. The war ended in the year 1953. And also the Cuba, it is also one of the important island. This island was used by USA economically and also militarily, and here Fidel Castro was a ruler at that time, and he was supported by USSR, and when they gave some ballistic missiles and other military help to the Cuba, this was not liked by Americans. They wanted to prevent the Russian influence in Cuba. That is the main reason here Cuban crisis happened. It also led to the breakout of the another third war. In order to prevent that, and there was some understanding when the in USSR that accepted to cool down this tension, and thereby third World War stopped. Instead of that, the Cold War slightly came to an end. It happened in the year 1961. It is near the USA. Next. So, during the Cold War time, there was military groups that also formed many groups. For example, NATO, 1949. All the West European countries and USA formed this NATO to defeat the communist ideology in the world. In the same way, Russia formed another group, that is Warsaw Pact. So, I already showed that East European countries were supported by USSR, that East European countries and USSR formed this military bloc, that is Warsaw Pact. They all formed a group, many groups, the world itself divided into many groups, supported by the one USA, another by the USSR. In that way, the world itself divided into many groups. And the same way, SEATO, this is also another military bloc, Southeast Asian Treaty Organization. It was signed in 1954, and Middle East Defense Organization. First it was called the Baghdad Pact, later it was changed into Middle East Defense Organization. And next, NAM, the Southeast Asian countries formed this non-alignment movement, and South Association for Asian Cooperation, regional cooperation. These were the other military group in the crops. In this way, the world itself divided into many groups. In that way, all the countries engaged in this Cold War. So, here Greece, USA using the Truman Doctrine and Marshall Plan to provide aid to European nations threatened by communism after World War II. I already said, and they also provided military support and also financial support. In this way, USA followed these two doctrines. They announced these policies, one Truman Doctrine and Marshall Plan. In this way, they supported the West European countries. When there was some internal disturbance crisis in Greece, and USA adopted these policies in Greece, and thereby it protected the Greece from communist influence. And Berlin was the capital of Germany, and it was divided into East Germany and West Germany. East Germany was under USSR, West Germany by the USA. Here I already said, in East Germany there was not that much freedom, dictatorship rule was followed. Here in communist region, people didn't enjoy much freedom, whereas in the Western they enjoyed all the freedom. They had a good standard of life, and they enjoyed all the luxurious life, and they led a healthy life. But here they could not. So, they like to live a life as enjoyed by the West Germany people, so that they moved from East Germany to West Germany. Many people moved into this. So, this led to economic loss for the East Germany. That is why here USSR President, they built a wall in the Berlin. It divided this East Germany and West Germany. In this way, they stopped intruding the East German people into the West Germany. So, this was built in the year 1969, but this Berlin Wall was demolished in the year 1989. So, after that, this war also slightly decreased. Next. The US airlifting supplies already said in the economic point of view. Airlifting supplies to pro-American West Berlin from 1948 to 1949, after the city was blockaded by the Soviet Union. See, these were the Western European countries. These countries were blocked by the Russians. In order to prevent that, they could not send the food materials also. They can't even get the food. So, in order to stop that, Even USA itself sent the food supply through the aeroplanes. So, this is the airlifting. This is the Berlin Wall, I already said. It was built in the Berlin. It itself divided Berlin into two, that is east and the west. And I said arms race and also technology. There was also new technology race also happened. USSR is the first country. It launched the satellite Sputnik 1, 1951. Followed that, and USA sent another satellites. In that way, in the space also, in the new technology also, there was some misunderstanding, competition, that is a race. Not only the arms race, in manufacturing, this is a nuclear bombs. So, manufactured by the US, hydrogen bombs by USA, and whereas Russia also simultaneously manufactured all the nuclear and hydrogen bomb, not only the arms race and also race in the new technology, that is in launching satellites to the space, and also they send with man they send the satellites also in the moon. Next slide. So, these were the man on space. USSR it sent the man in 1961, a Russian, an Air Force pilot, cosmonaut Yuri Alexeyevich Gagarin was the first human in the space. And America, so there was a competition. If they manufactured an atomic bomb and hydrogen bomb, Russia also simultaneously manufactured. In that way, there was a political, ideologically difference and arms race and also technology race. All this led to the Cold War. During that Cold War period, these are the things, these are the races were happened between USA and USSR. This war came to an end by Mikhail Gorbachev. I said he was a president of USSR. He followed a liberal policy. He introduced a capitalistic type of freedom, that is next, glasnost and perestroika. These two policies led to the disintegration of USSR, and thereby USSR ended. Next, Russia became a republic, and eastern countries also got a republic. In that way, big Russia came to an collapsed, disintegrated during the presidentship of this Mikhail Gorbachev. Thank you.